All right. Hello and welcome to our Wednesday Bootcamp class. Thank you for stopping in. Once again, I'm Quinn, your instructor and health fitness specialist. So today we're going to be going through a little bit of a warm-up and then hitting our full body circuit, getting some heart rate pumping, some movement flowing, and a couple of strength exercises thrown in there as well. So with our warm-up, we're just going to do our hamstring sweep, knee hugs, and then opening and closing the gate. And then we're going to work through our workout going into some glute kickbacks, some squat heel taps, prone overhead press, some squatting tees, marches, push-ups, mountain climbers, rotating lizard, and a squat to extension. So a good amount of exercises there to the workout. So we're going to go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to do is with our hamstring sweep. So bringing one foot down, pointing the toe up. We're going to extend the hands back behind the hips and sweep down and through the legs. Getting that foot forward, heel to the ground, and standing all the way back up. Getting a nice big stretch. And standing all the way up top. Nice and tall and sweeping through. Switching feet, getting our other foot forward. Getting a nice big stretch through the hips and the leg. Last one. And done. Very good. Next up, we're going to get into our knee hugs. So just leaning forward, grabbing the shin, and pulling that knee up to chest. Going back and forth, getting a nice stretch through the hips. As we get that knee up, keeping that chest nice and tall. Feeling that stretch through the back of the leg. Couple more here. Last one. And done. Good. Next up, we have our open and close the gate. So we're going to bring one knee up, out, and over. Kind of getting a big stepping motion. If you imagine if you had a box right here next to your feet, you're going to step up and over and bring the leg back close. Stepping over those boxes, opening up that gate, back and forth, forward leg, and then switching sides, opening up and closing. Nice, even pace. And done. Good. All right. Now that we're all loosened up and warmed up through our hips, a little bit into the back, we're going to get into our workout here. So the first one we're going to do is our glute kickbacks. Getting down to our hands and knees, we're going to extend one leg back behind us. So sucking that belly button, the spine, we're going to extend back, getting that heel up, coming down, keeping that same leg extending back, trying to get it nice and straight, extend it out. And switching sides, getting our other leg out. Extending back, keeping that back nice and flat. Getting a nice big kick out behind. And done. Good. Next up, we have our squat to heel tap. So we're going to alternate which foot we bring up here. We're going to start with our feet about hip width apart. Squatting down. We're going to come up. pop, and get a little tap to the heel. Swap down, bring that foot up, alternating back and forth each side. Popping down, and alternating, nice even pace. Keeping that weight over the middle of the foot as we come down and pop back up. Almost there. And done. Good. Next up, we have our prone overhead press. So we're going to lay down onto the ground, getting our hands extended out in front. We're going to pop our chest and hands up, pull those elbows down towards the hips, and extending back out, getting those fingertips out in front of the face. Trying to keep our chest up as we move back and forth here. Driving those fingertips forward and coming back down. Nice, even motion here, pressing through, getting those hands extended out overhead. Nice and controlled back and forth. And done. Very good. Next up, we're going into our squatting tees. So getting our feet about hip width apart. We're going to get down to a little bit of a squat. Lower our chest over the ground. Hands come out in front of the chest. And we're extending out wide. All the way out to the side, creating a nice big T with our torso. Squeezing those shoulder blades together. Crushing that egg in the middle of the back. Imagine you got a little egg or a ball or an orange in the middle of the back. You want to squeeze those shoulders together so as to crush that egg, squeeze that orange, hold on to that ball. Few more. And done. Good. Next up, we have our marches. So getting our feet just about hip width apart. We're going to drive our knees up one at a time, up into the air, getting a little hand swing. Driving those knees up, getting our toes popping up nice and quick. Keeping those feet right below the hips. Nice even drive. Trying to pick up speed and pace a little bit here. Getting those knees up quick. Nice even pace. Almost there. Keep going. And done. Good. Next up, we're going into our push-ups. So either heading down onto the knees or getting the feet extended back. We're going to get our hands down to the ground, just outside of the chest, right below the shoulder. And we're going to slowly lower the chest down and drive straight back up. Nice. Even pace, about 3 seconds down, 3 seconds up. Really controlling that pressing movement. Again, trying to squeeze those shoulders through the back so that your shoulders aren't too rounded forward as we're pressing here. If you notice your shoulders coming a bit forward and your chest hollowing out, try and pull those shoulders back. Get a nice even press through our push-ups here. Almost done. And rest. Good. Next up, we're going to get into our mountain climbers. So, getting our hands in the same spot that they were. Now we're going to get our feet back behind us. And driving our knees up, back and forth, getting nice speed, quick pace, getting our knees up to the chest here, driving up, nice and quick. Sucking that belly button to the spine, keeping that back nice and flat. Almost there. Couple more seconds, keep it going. And rest. Very good. Next up, we're gonna do our, this is a funky name. I wasn't sure what else to call it, but it's gonna be our rotating lizard lunge. Okay, so a little bit of mobility and rotation here. We're gonna bring one foot forward into this 90-90 position here and bring our hands down to the ground. From here, we're gonna pick our knee up and shift our hips forward. So we're in a little bit of a stretched lunging position here. From here, we're gonna rotate one hand up and extend to the fingertip. Holding up at the top, posing, coming down, extending out, and switching our foot. Coming back up. Moving back and forth between each foot, getting up, rotating up, and posing at the top, trying to get good movement and mobility through the hips, as well as stability and control through the shoulders. And rest. Good. Last one we got here is our squat to extension. So feet about hip width apart. We're going to lower down into our squat, popping up and extending up onto our toes, getting our hands all the way up above the head. Nice full extension up through our squat here. Exploding up through the roof. Nice even pace. Exploding up. Getting that full extension. And done. Good. Next up, we're going back to the top. We've got our glute kickbacks. So getting down onto our hands and knees. Once again, we're going to extend one leg back behind. Getting that full extension, heel coming up. Getting it as high and away as you can. Extending that leg back. Nice and even pace. And switching sides, kicking that leg out. Nice and even. Just swinging that knee back in and out, getting that heel fully extended up and out. And done. Good. Next up, we have our squat heel tap. So coming up onto our feet, we're going to get our feet about hip width apart. Squatting down and bringing our foot up, getting a nice tap at the bottom of the heel. And coming back up and down into the squat. Alternating back and forth. Getting a nice solid pace. Finding that weight between both feet. Dropping down. and popping up. Nice and even. Tapping back and forth. And done. Very good. Next up, we've got our prone overhead press. So coming down to the floor again. Lowering down onto the chest. Getting our hands extended out. We're going to pick the hands up and pull the elbows down towards the hips. Extending back out overhead. Pulling those shoulder blades together up towards the ceiling. Trying to keep those shoulders and elbows and hands high off the ground with the chest. As we extend back and forth out in front of our belly. Almost there. And done. Good. Next up, we have our squatting tees. So getting into a squatting position with our feet about hip width apart. We're going to extend those hips back, bending the knees, lowering the chest over the ground, and bringing our hands out in front. Fingertips are going to come out wide into a nice T position, squeezing those shoulders together through the middle. Getting a nice pose up at the top, and coming back down, getting that belly button stuck to spine. Getting a nice even pace here, not holding too long at the top, and coming straight back up as those hands come together. Nice and even, keeping that weight over the middle of both feet. Almost there. A few more. And done. Good. Next up, we have our marches. So, getting our feet about hip width apart, we're going to drive those knees up, swinging our hands back and forth, opposite side of the knee, just like we would be running or sprinting down the track. Driving those knees up and forward, swinging those arms back behind, working all in unison here. Nice even pace. Starting to pick those feet up a little bit faster. Nice and quick. Couple more seconds here. And done. Good. All right, heading into the last 50% of our workout here. Heading down into our push-ups. So either down on your knees or feet extended out behind. We're going to get those hands directly below the shoulder and just a little bit wider than the chest. From here, we're going to suck the belly button to spine and lower our chest down, pressing straight through the ground as we come up. You want to keep those elbows tucked into the ribs and shoulders pulled back. Trying to squeeze them together so that they don't round forward through the pressing motion here. You want to keep them in the nice and middle position. Couple more here, keep pressing through. Almost there. And done. Good. Next up, we've got our mountain climbers. So keeping our hands in that same position, right underneath the shoulders, a little bit wider than the chest. We're going to extend our knees up, popping up onto our toes, and driving knees to chest. Getting a nice quick pace. Kicking those feet up, getting those knees, trying to drive them straight through the arms. Getting those knees up high. Driving the ground away through the hands. Couple more. A little bit more. Keep it going. Almost there. A few more seconds. And rest. Very good. Next up, we have our rotating lizard lunge. So, getting our front foot out forward. Starting in this 90-degree position. We're going to lower our hands down to our feet so that our inside hand is right on the inside of the foot. We're going to extend that knee up and drop the hips down. From here, rotating that inside hand up towards the ceiling so that our chest opens up towards that forward knee, posing, coming back down and switching feet. Rotating up, getting that fingertip extended through the ceiling. Stretching those hips out and coming back down. Switching back and forth, getting a nice stretch through. Alternating those feet. And coming back up. Last one we got is our squat to extension. So feet about hip width apart. We're going to lower our squat down, driving those hips back, knees forward, and explode, extending up onto our tippy toes, getting those hands up above the head. Nice, even pace. Driving through the ground and extending all the way up. Getting a nice little drop down and popping back up. Couple more seconds here. And done. All right, so we actually are lucky today. We got a little bit of extra time before we head into our cool down. So with this extra little bit of time, we are going to hop into a quick, very, very quick plank. So getting our forearms down to the ground. We're going to extend our feet back, get those hips up, and hold our plank. Nice quick one. Get the focus in. Suck that belly button to spine. Locking in the abdominals, creating your body to be as stiff as a board. Driving the chest away through the elbows, keeping those hips up nice and flat. Few more seconds here, almost done. Keep it up. And finish. Nice job. We're going to go ahead and hop down onto our knees here for our cool down. Extending our hands all the way out in front as we sit onto our knees into a child's pose. Getting nice deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Nice, deep, even breathing. Few more breaths here. And coming back up. Getting into our thread the needle stretch here. We're going to extend one hand underneath our arms, dropping down, stretching through the shoulder. Getting a nice big stretch through the back of the shoulder there. And Curling up, rotating, twisting that hand up to ceiling, and dropping down, getting that other arm underneath the armpit, dropping the shoulder, and stretching through the back. And rotating back again, getting that hand extended up, and dropping back down. Very good. All right, so that will conclude our session for today. Thank you guys so much for hopping in. I hope you enjoyed the workout. I certainly feel like I got a good one. So enjoy the rest of your day. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks.
Thanks, Sue.